Security Council decision to authorize the sending of an international force to the north of Mali. The decision was strongly criticized in Algiers by the Ansar Din.
It should be noted that we have always criticized this type of intervention. We have said that this is not a solution.
Under the auspices of Algeria, the Ansar Din have just concluded an accord with the MNLA, the National Azawad Liberation Movement, another Tuareg group. The Islamists say the crisis in Mali can be resolved through dialogue. But many analysts believe that this is part of their strategy to prevent the international community from using force against the even more radical Akim and Mujao groups.
An Afghan woman wearing the country's police uniform has shot dead a NATO advisor in Kabul police headquarters. It is the latest in a series of shootings involving Afghan security officers on their NATO counterparts. And Russian President Vladimir Putin is on a visit to India. The trip is expected to open up new economic and military ties between the two countries.
Forces in Syria have accused the regime of Bashar al-Assad of using chemical weapons. This footage, broadcast by Eurovision, which says the images are credible, shows several people suffering from respiratory convulsions and temporary blindness after inhaling poisonous gas fumes. The chemical weaponry was fired by regime forces against the towns of Al-Kharadiyah, Bayada, and Dir el-Bala in the region of Homs. The region has crossed the red line set by Washington and European countries, at the same time that the United Nations and Arab League emissary Lakhdar Brahimi is on a visit to Damascus. After meeting with President Assad, Brahimi sounded pessimistic.
The situation in Syria still gives cause for great concern. We hope that all the parties will work towards the solution that the Syrian people are hoping for.
The day after his arrival, Sunday, was particularly bloody. At least 170 people, including 108 civilians, were killed across the country. An air raid on a bakery in the rebel-held town of Halfaya in the Hama region left more than 60 people dead and 50 others critically injured. "These are the reforms of Bashar al-Assad," this rescue worker yelled. And by means of continuing the bloody carnage, the regime hopes to survive.
We are optimistic that Syria, the homeland, the government, and the people will be able to overcome this crisis and defeat the aggression against them.
Rebel forces are continuing to gain ground. Fighters took an army base on Sunday in the Aleppo region and got their hands on huge quantities of weapons.
Well, we would like to apologize for playing the wrong report. That story is actually on rebel fighters in Syria who are accusing government forces of using chemical weapons. A number of people have suffered from respiratory convulsion and temporary blindness after coming under attacks from government forces. And also the UN Arab League envoy Lakhdar Brahimi has also told reporters after meeting with Assad that the situation in Syria is very serious. Well, time now to take our second break. When we come back, we'll take a look at sports. Stay tuned in.
Gambia National Petroleum Company, GNPC, the Gambia's very own, most reliable and best petroleum service provider. Enjoy nationwide service from GNPC stations in Basse-Mansajang along the Koina-Fototo Highway, Farafenni along the Kaur Highway, Soma along the Farafenni Highway, Brikama before the Craft Market, Banjul next to Gambia Ports Authority, and the main station in Fajara. GNPC is a one-stop shop for world-class standard auto spare parts, high-quality lubricants, spark plugs, batteries, wipers, tires, tire changing facilities, and free tire inflation at any time. With GNPC, you think we provide it for you with well-trained, committed, and competent who work towards excellent customer service and satisfaction. Remember, GNPC is 100% Gambian-owned. Starting from 25th December 2012 to 31st of January 2013, Customers who buy $2,000 and above worth of fuel get free car wash at our Banjul, Brikama and Fajara stations. GNPC, Nyokomom.
Welcome back to the news. After weeks of exciting football matches between some of the best teams in the zonal championship, the final game of this hugely entertaining community tournament has ended inconclusively amid sense of the 2010 championship final. The two sides, Birkama and Bakau, were tied at 2 goals apiece until the Western Region outfit scored a controversial late winner which sparked a pitch invasion by a fan. Babaka Sengo reports.
It is another low point in Gambian football and a dark stain on a tournament widely embraced by the country's football fraternity. The football played in the 2 weeks of the zonal championship has been one of absorbing contests, fanfare and high-quality organization, albeit until the events of Saturday evening. The atmosphere at the East Park was electric. Fans from Bakau, Brikama and those from the Serekunda end stormed the venue to watch the final. And they weren't to be disappointed, as the two sides engaged in an engrossing high-octane encounter which produced a flurry of goals. Games between these two communities are uncommon occurrences. To have a final game between Bakau and Brikama becomes a special show. Brikama raced into a 2-goal lead. The elegantly gifted Sini Sambu scored first with a fine strike. When Modulamin Saho scored this fantastic goal, the huge traveling support of the West Coast region side was sent into dreamland. Bakau's response to that twin setback was swift and decisive. Sanat Dabo reducing the deficit shortly after Brikama's second goal. The coastal side completed their comeback courtesy of Suleiman Sanyan's header. For all the good work of the past 2 weeks, and on a day the two sides played their part in a wonderful game of football, the events of the closing stages of the game provided the country and its football a sobering reflection. It will be another busy time for organizers and investigators to reach at the bottom of the latest installment of football melee in Gambian football. But nothing will pass without a thorough scrutiny of the behavior of some fans and the actions of riot police on the ground. For Grts Sport is Babukar Senghor.
Well, from sports time now to take a look at the weather report courtesy of the Central Forecast Office.
The source assures us of a continuous flow, and from there, everything follows. And for those of us who know what the River Gambia stands for, understanding its sustainability in all aspects of life is easily confirmed. The River Gambia provides nutritious delicacies as food, while it provides its wildlife a balanced ecosystem. This river, as a sanctuary, is committed to its inhabitants' needs without season. And as you travel along, all these values are replicated in one company, Elton, just like the River Gambia, leads in its commitment to values that matter most. Elton, championing the vision for a new generation.
Hello, and once again it's a warm welcome to the weather news, beginning with a summary of the weather due today, followed by our forecast. The Gambia this afternoon was characterized by a variably cloudy atmosphere. It was also relatively warm but dry. For what next? Let's start with a look at the satellite image captured at 16:30 hours, reflecting the presence of medium-level clouds only over the southern part of the continent. Elsewhere over Africa was mainly dry and stable during the period. For our forecast tonight, we're expecting conditions over the Gambia to be relatively cool, dry but stable. Daytime will be mainly warm, dry and partly cloudy. Winds will continue to be mainly northeastern orientation, but generally light to moderate in speed. Morning temperature values will be 16 degrees Celsius over Banjul and Yudum. We're expecting 14 degrees Celsius over Kerawan and Sibano. Ginoy will record 13 degrees Celsius, as well as Kaur